Hey everybody! Today, Rahdo runs down Everdell Pearlbrook, which is the first expansion for the wonderful worker placement game Everdell. And I'm going to spend a few minutes today talking about what's new in this expansion and how Jen and I have found it adds to the core gameplay. And if you don't know how to play Everdell, I would strongly suggest you hit that I in the top right corner of the screen and go check out my run through for the base game. This is assuming you already know Everdell and you're just curious to know what's in this expansion. So, hey everybody, welcome to Everdell, and let's also say welcome to the Pearlbrook add-on expansion board. You can just like plugs in over here on the side, and it brings several new elements to the game. First and foremost, a whole new type of resource, pearls, which I guess the ultimate one, they're going to look more like little tiny pearls rather than these glass beads. But these are a new resource that is used for several different elements. And how do you get those pearls? By sending one of your new frog ambassadors out to visit the Pearlbrook area. And what that means is at the beginning of the game, everybody starts with 2 workers like normal, but they also start with their ambassador, who looks like a little frog. My prototype here doesn't have the actual little frog minis. You'll have to imagine this is a frog. So you actually start with 3 workers now. And you might think, hey, does that radically change the game because the economy of workers is such a big element? Not exactly, because you cannot use your ambassador, your frog kingdom ambassador, to go to any regular worker placement space. The frog ambassadors can only go to these Everbrook spaces, and regular workers cannot go. So it's entirely possible you might play through an entire game of Everdell with the Pearlbrook expansion and never actually do any of the Pearl stuff because it is an additional thing. It doesn't take away from the core. It just kind of adds and supplements to that. So anyway, as you can see, there are 5 places over here in Pearlbrook you can go to. And now, anytime you want, you can always come over here with your ambassador and pay 2 of any of the other resources of the game and discard 2 cards from your hand to get 1 pearl. And now these pearls are central to a lot of the rest of the elements that are introduced in this expansion. So anybody can go here, and once that's blocked, no worries, because as you can see, it's one of those spaces where multiple players can go. Everybody has the option to do that. But if you want to come and explore Pearlbrook, well, as part of setup, 4 cards are put face down. These are 2 underwater locations and 2 underwater characters. You don't know exactly which is which. But to be able to go here, you have to have built up your village to certain specs. You have to, if you want to come here, you've got to have 3 production buildings. If you want to come here, you have to have 2 law buildings or 2 wanderer buildings. Buildings or characters, I should say. So you have to build up. And it's interesting, these targets replace the events from the regular game. Instead of trying to get 3 wanderers to rush after and do the cartographer's expedition in the base game, now you need 2 wanderers to come down here and visit the underwater Great Hall, which might be a place you want to go. So you're still racing to hit certain targets with your village building. And say you have done it, and you decide, oh, I'm going to go on ahead and send my ambassador over here because I have hit this requirement. Now what happens is the first player to visit any of these gets a pearl for free. And again, these pearls are rare and very valuable. What happens after that player takes the pearl, they then flip the card and discover what's under the waters. And like I said, it's the Great Hall. So underwater locations are interesting. If you have the resources to spend, in this case, 1 pebble, and victory points to spend, in this case, 1 victory point and 1 pebble, then you get to do the action of this space. Draw 4 cards and gain 1 pearl. And that's a really interesting twist because victory point tokens are not something that you just necessarily get. You have to chase after certain strategies to earn these early in the game. So if you want to go underwater and you find an underwater location, you're going to need to have some victory points on hand. Now, if you go there and you got that pearl and then you flipped it and you found out, oh, I can't do this action, no big deal. That means on some future turn, once the space empties out, some other player might come over here and get the second half. But if you have planned well and you're lucky, you could actually do 2 actions at once. Get the free pearl, flip the card over, and get the underlying pearl reward as well. Now, if I had 2 law buildings and I came over here, what would I find? I'd find Omicron the Elder. And the character cards underwater, they have you, instead of discarding victory points, they have you discard specific types of cards from your hand. So you have to have these cards in your hand to discard them to get pearls. Again, you get 1 pearl for being the first player there, but then if you want the additional pearl, you've got to have the right cards on hand. That's Omicron the Elder. Over here we've got some undersea gardens. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden. You, again, give up 1 victory point and 1 berry. And let's see. Oh, there here we got Snout the Explorer. He's adorable, or she, I suppose. Discard 2 location cards or destination cards from your hand to get 1 point and 1 pearl. So it's really interesting. This adds a level of unpredictability, and I understand why they did it. They want to have that sense of exploration. You don't know what you're going to find until you actually go under the water with your frog ambassador. I have to say, this is probably our least favorite thing, not knowing what's down there, because sometimes somebody can just get really lucky and effectively get 2 actions for the price of 1, and other times you won't, and I'm sure it all balances out, but it just feels a little off. Personally, I think, Jen, I would have rather they all be face up right from the get-go, and you make you decide, are you going to rush off to do this, but do you actually, do you want to wait until you have the right stuff in this, or does somebody else beat you to it? But I understand why, and there is a sense of fun to not knowing what lies under these murky waters. But, so that's something you just got to bear in mind. It adds a little bit more randomness and unpredictability, this kind of exploration under the sea element. So, you can get pearls anytime you want by giving up resources and cards, or if you hit certain targets, you can get pearls. Now, what do we want to do with pearls? Well, remember I said how the cartographer and the Grand Tour and all these things, these are no longer in the game. These are removed, the City Monument, the Harvest Festival, and instead they are replaced with these wonders. Now, in the real game, it's not going to be cards. It's going to be new little cutouts like this. And in fact, I think actually they've hit a stretch goal on the Kickstarter, so they're actually going to be little 3D minis. I think, I'm not sure about that. You can check out the Kickstarter page if you want to know more. But anyway, these wonders become a new thing that everybody's chasing to try to do. They always cost pearls. The Sunblazer Bridge costs 3 pearls. Hopewater Gate costs 2 pearls, and so on. And then they also cost a combination of other resources as well. And you have to discard cards also. So these are incredibly expensive, but they are huge point scoring opportunities. They're all out there right from the get-go, under the tree, waiting for first come, first serve, if players can get the pearls and everything else they need to score those really big points. Much bigger points than we used to get from these little old events. So the wonders replace the events, and that's not all. Here is what I think is maybe the coolest new feature. By the way, I should say, of course, there's a whole bunch of these undersea cards, so you never know exactly what you're going to get. Although you know it's always going to be 2 locations and 2 characters underwater. These adornments, these are where things get really exciting. These are almost worth the price of admission themselves. These are a big deal. As part of setup, everybody gets 2 randomly added to their hand. They don't count towards your hand size or anything like that. And these become additional objective cards everybody has. There's the public objective everybody can see. These are private objectives that only you want to chase after, like this sundial here. So to complete these, you have to play them on your turn, and you guessed it, you got to pay a pearl to be able to play these. Another reason to get pearls. And they give you an immediate reward and then an end of the game reward as well. So, they're like the sundial here, you can activate 3 production cities for production for up to 3 in your city, and get 1 point, additional point for every production card you have at the end of the game in your village. So this gives you an overall strategy of going production heavy. Key to the city is gain any 2 resources you want and draw a card for every construction in your city. So if you have this in your hand, you want to focus less on characters and more on construction cards throughout, because you'll get a point for every 2 constructions in your city at the end of the game, and so on. These things are a really big deal. It's nice. The base game has these public ones. Everybody chases after them. Everybody can see what everybody's going for. But Jen, I found it so much more pleasant to be able to long-term strategize, because you never know if you're going to be able to get these. You never know if the right characters are going to come out. But these become targets you can shoot for and strategize around, or not. If you're not going to get pearls, you're not going to be able to score any of these adornments. But this is a big, big deal. This is a big reason to get pearls, so that you can chase after these. Also, of course, you're going to get a whole bunch of new character cards and location cards that just get added into the main deck. And they're all themed to the Pearlbrook nautical sense. Like, hey, how about a pirate ship? This is a new one, doesn't score any points. This is an interesting one. This is an open location, so anybody could go there once somebody's got this. If somebody goes here, they move this pirate ship from one village to another. And, so this thing can be changing hands throughout the game. And since it's open, if somebody has the pirate ship visit me, I might get rid of it, or somebody else might. You've got a shipwright. You've got pirates, of course. If you're gonna have a pirate ship, you got to have pirates with cool special powers. You've got harbor. There's a bunch of these. I think 15 completely new cards and maybe more with stretch goals on the Kickstarter that add a whole bunch of new and interesting things. Some of them have to do with pearls. Some of them are just new functions. Fairies and messengers and all kinds of stuff. So you get the new resource, the new board with the whole new worker to use in a very specific way. You get the new secret objectives that you're chasing throughout the game. You get a whole bunch of new cards to add. And that, folks, is Everdell Pearlbrook. We like it a lot. The adornments are a huge deal. They're a game changer. The new cards are very cool and fun as well. And if you like a bigger sense of the unknown and exploration and a little bit of luck, what are we going to find when we flip those cards? It adds that diving under the sea to go meet underwater Denzians as well. So, like I said, that was maybe Jensen my least favorite. But hey, if you don't like that randomness, don't do it. There are other uses for those pearls. But again, those pearls are crazy expensive, and you don't get much time. Even though you've got this new specialized worker, you're still limited in what you can do. Overall, very sharp, very fun expansion for an already excellent worker placement game. That is Everdell Pearlbrook, and that is the rundown, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Have a very, very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.